All right. Anyways, we're just going to wait for a few minutes to give people a chance to come in. Hope everybody's having a good week this far and a good week this far and good day. Anyway, Hong Kong Fooey, number one super guy. Hong Kong Fooey, quicker than the human eye. Chicky chong, chicka wong wong wong. Hong Kong Fooey, that's terrific. Top Cat, the unbelievable Top Cat, the undisputed leader of the gang. He's the pip, he's the hop, he's the championship. He's the most tip top Cat. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Flintstones, meet the Flintstones. Have a yabba dabba do time. From the town of Bedrock, there's a place right out of history. That's right, with the family down the street. Rudolph, courtesy of Frizzle Heap. When you're with the Flintstones, have a yabba dabba do time. A dabba do time. We'll have a gay old time. Meet George Jetson. Do 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 do. His boy Elroy. Do 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 do. Daughter Judy. Do 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 do. Jane, his wife. Do 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 do. Come along with the snorks. Swim along with the snorks. So much to see waiting for you and me. Have some fun with the snorks. If you could breathe underwater, where would you go? If you had friends underwater, who would you know? Come along and sing along too. Yeah! Come along with the snorks. Swim along with the snorks. Happy to see waiting for you and me. Have some fun with the have some fun. Come along with the snorks. On Moon Mesa, where the cowboys roam, everyone wanted to know by the code of the West. On Moon Mesa, report to the Goof Troop, and we always like father, like son. Always number one. Yeah, they're buddies, they're pals. Always seem to work things out. Can't you see they're two of a kind? Looking for a real good time. Port to the Goof Troop, and we always stick together. Yeah, with the Goof Troop, best of friends forever. Yeah, with the Goof Troop, and we always stick together. Yeah, with the Goof Troop, best of friends forever. Now we're calling everyone. Come along and join the fun. Report to the Goof Troop. Yeah. That's it now. Walking in a town, walking through the crowd in a faceless town. I need to feel the touch of a friend. In the countryside, I wander far and wide. The isolation gets me again. I don't know where to go when I feel like crying. Oh my, it's time to open myself, do something new. I want to stop and grow up a bit. Then suddenly, my intuition and my wisdom grow. And then I know that most of all I send compassionately strangers wherever they go. Thank you for waking me up. Transformers, robots in disguise. Autobots rage their battles to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. The Transformers, robots in disguise. Transformers, more than meets the eye. Transformers. They're dashing, they're daring, courageous and caring, faithful and friendly with stories to share. All through the forest they sing out in chorus, marching along as their song fills the air. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm strong to the finish 'cause I eat my spinach. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Let's see. Let's see what else. What else is there? Fantastic. Karate cat. Do do do. Karate cat. Do do do. Let's see. Silverhawk, partly metal, partly real. Silverhawk, flowing through the highway of the desert their life. Silverhawk, a rainbow in the night. Do 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 do. Well, there goes Max on a routine mission. Will he lose or win? Four-ply diaper and that safety pin. Fantastic, man. Let's see. Brave Star, Brave Star. Hello, it looks like we have a second person here. How you doing tonight? Hopefully you're doing well. Oh, and thank you for the like and the share. Yeah, so I guess it would be a good now that we have another person in here. It looks like it'd be a good time to start kind of going over what's on tap for tonight. We got 9 news items to go over all together, 7 articles, and of course, a couple from Wrestling Roundup, including a little bit on a new comic called No Holds Barred, and how it's written in iambic pentameter. We also have the Marvel side of the whole Conan the Barbarian publishing rights issue. Um, we did read 10 Cent side of it yesterday, so we'll be reading the Marvel side of it today. Reading about the Marvel side of it today. Let's see. One a classic Batman cover is going up for auction, as well as acclaimed Batman Joker artist Lee Bermejo revealing a new prestige Dark Knight project, as well as that's all on the comic side of it, and then on the anime side of things, I know. Actually, let's see. We have among stories, including Crunchyroll, of course, getting the rights to Chainsaw Man. Let me see. What else can I think? Mob Psycho's got a new trailer coming out for its upcoming season. I think there was one more from anime side of it. Another anime adaptation coming out for Blue Star, I believe, is the name of the anime, name of the manga slash anime. So that's all that's on tap for tonight. Let's see, we're at right just past the 10-minute mark, so we're gonna go ahead and get started then. Hope everybody's having a good week. All right, so here we go. Exclusive, no holds barred. So BARD, as in, somebody who is a poet, orator. Um, Tells a Shakespearean superhero adventure in iambic pentameter. CBR can exclusively preview No Holds Barred, a new 6-issue series written in iambic pentameter that reimagines William Shakespeare as a superhero. Interesting concept there. By Brandon Schwer, published 8 hours ago. Oh, there he is right there, I guess. No Holds Barred will take literature's most famous author William Shakespeare, and turn him into a 1960s era superhero. So basically, they're shifting in my head like about 400 years, I guess. Let's see now. CBR can exclusively preview No Holds Barred, a 6-issue series from writer Eric Gladstone, artist Gabrielle M. Kari, colorist Inez Bravo, and letterer Aditya Bidikar. Oh, yeah, we saw that name yesterday as well. Publishing in August from Behemoth Comics and distributed through Diamond and Simon and Schuster, No Holds Barred is a Shakespearean superhero story written entirely in iambic pentameter. So that should be an interesting read right there. Um, I guess iambic pentameter is kind of the style that what Shakespeare was known for writing in. Um, let's see. The synopsis reads: when Queen Elizabeth I is kidnapped, only the dramatic duo of William Shakespeare and William Page, in their superhero alter egos, the Bard and Page, can save her. Now you got to remember too, a page back then was like an assistant to whoever they were, page or servant of somebody who they were usually with. Um, in this globe-trotting graphic novel, the Bard and Page butt heads, and then doing this kind of thing. Not that they are butt heads, but and come to blows with contemporaries and fictional characters alike, from Sir Francis Bacon and Kit Marlowe to Puck and a zombified Richard III. As they get closer to the truth behind Shakespeare's world renowned intelligence, they'll find out the deeper meaning behind love, labor, and losing it. Almost sounds a little bit like they might be kind of combining Shakespeare with Sherlock Holmes, maybe. That'd be an interesting combo to take note of. And here are some images from, I guess, the book here. That picture on the right, then for number 4. Hmm. And as always, feel if anything in the articles or anything that we talk about here catches your interest or you have questions on it, feel free to join in the conversation. Right. Taking inspiration from the 1960s Adam West Batman television series, 1966 and 1969 to be precise. No Holds Barred is said to be a detective story that's both a love letter to Shakespeare and a satirical in nature. Quote, I grew up watching reruns of the 60s Batman show. Yeah, I did too. Many of us did, I'm sure. And in the ninth grade, when we started to read Shakespeare's plays, I wish I had something like this that connected the sometimes impenetrable dialogue with something fun and modern, unquote, Gladstone said. He continued, quote, I was never going for accuracy. I wasn't going for jokes. Though I've always been a big fan of Mel Brooks, and he proved over and over that anachronisms can enhance the funny. I tried to go beyond simple parody. Even the silliest thing has to have an emotional core and twists and turns that make sense. What would make Shakespeare lose it? Spoiler alert, it's learning that his intelligence isn't inborn. Hmm. Well, I'd have to disagree with that. I mean, intelligence can be inborn. The capacity to learn is always there. Okay, so whether or not you choose to develop your intelligence, that's where I think they're going with this. Anyways. Gladstone said writing the series in iambic pentameter was quote unquote tough, but something he felt would enhance the series. No Holds Barred also brought on Shakespeare consultant the Sorensen to examine and adjust the dialogue where necessary. Quote, No Holds Barred is filled with in jokes for those familiar with the subject matter. Villains exit pursued by bears. Shakespeare is married to the modern Anne Hathaway. All right. And the remains of Richard III are exhumed from a parking lot. But the book always strives for inclusivity. This is something that uses intelligence to create something dumb and dress it up as smart again. Let's see. Bizarre, over the top subject matter is pretty much always played straight, which is my absolute favorite type of comedy. As always, action and emotions are top priority. No Holds Barred is a perfect for people who love or want to get into Shakespeare or want a good superhero yarn. There's some blood and themes of growing up and LGBT issues, but nothing more objectionable than a Shakespeare play. Certainly nobody is tricked into eating their children like in Titus Andronicus. Noel's Bard #1 publishes on August 9th from Behemoth. It's Eric Gladstone. Okay, so there we go with that one. So as I was talking about earlier, this article is pretty much, we talked about this yesterday, but in yesterday's article, when we covered that on Bounding into Comics, that was covering the 10 cents perspective on it. So this article is focusing more on Marvel's side of the issue here. So Marvel allows to let Conan the Barbarian publishing rights lapse. Marvel allows the publishing rights to the Conan the Barbarian character to lapse, meaning the character will soon depart from the Marvel universe. Article by Brandon Schwer, published 7 hours ago. Now, we do know that in some cases the character might still show up in one or two titles from what we were reading yesterday. But let's see what they have to say about it here. Conan the Barbarian is leaving the Marvel Universe following the conclusion of the current King Conan series. According to comicbook.com, Marvel decided not to renew its Conan the Barbarian publishing rights with Conan Properties International, which is owned by Heroic Signatures. So this one's saying that the impression I got was Tencent was taking the rights back. Basically, this makes it sound more like Marvel's voluntarily giving up the publishing rights. Which again, there is a bit of a difference there between having the rights taken from you and voluntarily giving them up. But as I'll talk a little bit about later in another story, they say there's 3 sides to every story. There's your side, my side, and the truth, right? So, and we'll talk more about that concept a little later in the broadcast here. So let's see, where are we at? Okay. Yeah. Quote, we had a wonderful run with Marvel Comics, but ultimately they have decided not to extend their license beyond this year. Unquote. Heroic Signatures CEO Fred Malmberg said, quote, Conan has more than 50 years of comic book publishing. We took the decision to pick up the baton ourselves, not only for Conan, but all the other wonderful characters and IP that we control. Yeah, that's one of the other things we've been hearing too, that the company that actually owns the rights to them may want to start publishing their own Conan the Barbarian comics. In order to do so, they had to actually get the publishing rights back from Marvel to do it. The publishing program will commence next year. The exact details are not final yet. So they're still obviously working out the details for it for when it does come to fruition. Conan the Barbarian currently stars in Marvel's Savage Avengers series, which launches a new volume on May 18th, which is, of course, tomorrow. While it's not immediately certain what the announcement means for the future of the Savage Avengers series, Malmberg said the character could potentially still show up in future issues. Quote, we enjoy a great relationship with Marvel and hope to do crossovers. And that Conan will appear now and then in Savage Avengers, but nothing is planned as of this moment, unquote, he said. As Jason Aaron's King Conan #6 marks the end of Marvel's new Barbarian Age adventures, Marvel recently announced a number of Conan-related trade collections and omnibuses coming in the following months. September will see the release of Conan the Barbarian Epic Collection, the original Marvel years, Vengeance in Asgalon, trade paperback, volume #6 by Roy Thomas, John Buscema, and Howard Chaykin. with a cover by Gil Kane, Conan the Barbarian, the original Marvel Years Omnibus volume by Roy Thomas, Sandy Plunkett, Bill Ray, Michael Dougherty, Gary Hartle, Tony DeZuniga, Dave Hoover, E.R. Cruz, John Watkins, with covers by Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee. Follows in December. Initially created by Robert E. Howard, Conan the Barbarian's first appearance in the Marvel Universe was in the 1970s. Conan the Barbarian #1 by Roy Thomas and Barry Smith. Dark Horse Comics attained Conan the Barbarian publishing rights in 2003, and with Marvel then reacquiring them in 2019. So they only had it for like 3 years here now, before they're going back to the original owners, I guess. King Conan #6 publishes on July 6th from Aaron and artist Mahmoud Asrar. The synopsis for the issue reads, quote, "The fate of the crown, the land, the island, and the barbarian king, Conan, makes his last stand. Thothamon shows his true colors. The fate and fortunes of Aquitlonia and the Hyperion Age turn. Don't miss the poignant, powerful, and unbelievable chapter that closes out this saga of King Conan." Here's the next article we'll look at here. One of the most iconic Batman covers of all time is going up for auction. Frank Miller and Lynn Varley's original artwork for The Dark Knight Returns, Book 1, is biddable on Heritage Comics beginning late May. Article by Jeremy Blum, published 5 hours ago. The cover of The Dark Knight Returns, showing a silhouette of Batman leaping past a lightning bolt, is headed to the auction block. Originally illustrated by Frank Miller, colored by Lynn Varley, and published in 1986, the Book 1 of The Dark Knight Returns cover has become one of the most iconic images of Batman over the ages. The original artwork, donated by a collector who acquired it from Varley, will serve as the highlight of Heritage Auction's June 16th through 19th Comics and Comic Art Signature Auction, with bids opening on May 27th. So let me see, I believe that will be on a Friday, like 1 week from this Friday, in fact. The thing too about Frank Miller too, one of the other things I was hearing, he was actually getting ready with Dan Didio starting his own publishing company too. So that's a point of interest for you guys out there. Quote, "This cover to the first issue of the Revolutionary Story is easily one of the most famous comic book covers from any era. as well as the single most resonant image from the series, unquote. Heritage Auctions Vice President Todd um, Hignite said, quote, it defined the entire superhero genre from the 1980s to this very moment. It was basically the post-crisis Earth time in DC is what they're already talking about. Post-crisis on Infinite Earth. Not only in comics, but in the broader culture. Such a widely reproduced, instantly recognizable, and transcendent image speaks to generations. I can't think of a more important piece of comic art to have ever come to auction. An interview with Miller published on the Heritage Auctions YouTube page dives into the acclaimed comic creator's thoughts on both the cover and The Dark Knight Returns in general. Miller said he was excited to delve into the character of Batman and use his drawing style to bring back the blocky, chunky father figure Batman drawn by Dick Sprang in the 50s. The sheer size of this version of Batman proved a perfect match for the cover silhouette. Quote, I was finding my identity as an artist, and to me, the silhouette is the most important language of it, unquote. Miller continued. Quote, what you can convey in silhouette is going to impact the minds and the emotions more intensely than anything else. I got a knack for silhouettes, and if you want a real nice rendering of something, I am not your guy. I am just not good at it. But I can punch out a KA silhouette, unquote. The simple yet effective nature of the cover's two components, Batman's shadow and a lightning bolt, also made it easy for reproducing. It essentially meant the printer had to get one thing right, and they got it right, and it made for a very powerful cover. He said throughout his career, Miller said he often mused over the extravagance of superhero comics, yet firmly felt that cartoonists needed to believe in the earnestness of Cape superheroes, despite their ridiculous nature. Quote, I look at The Dark Knight now and I think of what I said when I first saw the lightning bolt cover, which is, it works, unquote, Miller said. Quote, that's a remark not just about the cover, but about the celebration of the heroic and about how there's something to this comic book fair. And we got to keep at it. So there we go. YouTube and Heritage Auctions are the sources there. Before we do get to the last article here on CBR, anyways, I've got to go ahead and step away from the computer. I'll be right back. I'm thinking of good vibrations. She's giving me excitation. Ba-ba. 。 I'm back. All right, so let's get ready into this last article here. We're coming up on 40 minutes here soon. Uh, right up on 39. Oh, if we still got 20 seconds, 39 minutes. So, anyways, last article from CBR will be covering. Acclaimed Batman Joker artist Lee Bermejo reveals a new prestige Dark Knight project. Lee Bermejo, many Lee Bermejo's many covers for Detective Comics are coming together alongside new prose to form the graphic novella Dear Detective. Article by Jeremy Bloom, published 4 hours ago. Lee Bermejo's many variant covers for Detective Comics produced from 2020 to 2022 will soon be compiled together alongside original prose to form the graphic novella Batman Dark Detective. The combination of Bermejo's evocative, ultra realistic images with letters written to written to Batman is designed to evoke a noir feel. Bermejo told IGN the artist, renowned for his work on graphic novels like Batman Damned, Batman Noel, and Joker, stressed stressed that the project wasn't merely a means of recycling his cover art. Rather, it had been in the back of his head ever since he began constructing images for the book that gave DC its company name. Here, I got 7 images of some of the artwork they're talking about here. Dear Detective. Oh, a neon right there. Oh, there's Poison Ivy right there. That's some interesting art right there. And I think that maybe Ra's al Ghul in the background there. Scarecrow. You got Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, Ra's al Ghul, probably Talia there in the center. Penguin, Mad Hatter. And these are some darker versions of these heroes, though. Very monster like. Uh, Quote, as soon as the variant cover editor at the time offered me the Detective Comics gig, I knew it was an opportunity to do something different with a cover run. Bermejo said, quote, Detective Comics is special. It's really the DC Comics book, which is true in a way. Now, granted, new fun and new comics came out before Detective Comics, but ever since Detective Comics came out originally back in 1937, it basically become synonymous with the company. Let's see. I wanted to push something with the covers that wouldn't necessarily be sequential, but that readers could interact with, follow as some sort of narrative. The nature of the book just immediately brought to mind classic pulp imagery, the classic detective story on the search for some foe who's taunting him. Unquote. Mhm. Bermejo said that he drew inspiration from the letters of murderers like Jack the Ripper and formulated an interlocking narrative that managed to stand on its own with corresponding while corresponding to covers firmly in the realm of quote iconic Batman imagery, speaking to the huge scope and mythology of the character as well as a more street level day-to-day life day of his life, unquote. Yeah, well, dude, looking into the abyss, isn't he? The overarching story evolved as Bermejo's covers were released, particularly since his variants needed to at least be somewhat representative of events in each issue of Detective Comics. The thing about a book like Detective Comics, though, it's that it's a monthly title, unquote, Romeo said. Quote, so there are also requirements that the book has at times to respect the story being told inside. I knew the covers wouldn't come out in the order I intended them to be in my story, so I had a list of concepts I needed to execute. This became a thrilling challenge because I had to expand on the original idea as the run progressed. I have a table in my studio where I laid the covers out in order, and at a certain point, I was rearranging sequences, and it took on a life of its own. Unquote. Ultimately, the final product is intended to be an intimate look at Batman's never ending battle against crime and shares similarities with other experiments in pairing prose with comic book imagery. These include Alex Ross's classic 1999 Batman War on Crime graphic novel and Denny O'Neil's Death Strikes at Midnight and 3, a hard boiled text tale paired with comic layouts that appeared in 1978's DC Special Series number 15. Batman Dear Detective goes on sale September 6th. Alrighty then. With that, that's the last of the articles on CBR we're going to be looking at. Heading over to here in a moment here. Go to the anime articles. Before we get started on that, let's see if no, I guess not. Hmm. Hmm. With that, okay. All right, so here's the next article. Now we're going to get into the anime portion of the article readings. Mob Psycho 100's third and final season gets new trailer, official release date. Article by Nerdigans Inc. published yesterday. So here we go. On May 12th, which was I believe last Thursday, by no small coincidence, the same day as the titular protagonist's birthday, Mob Psycho 100 fans woke up to a release date announcement and a new trailer drop for the anime's third and final season. That morning, after weeks of teasing at the incoming announcement of something major, the series' official Twitter account unveiled the official trailer for the third season of the Bones of Studio Bones produced anime adaptation of the original webcomic by One Punch Man mangaka One. Alongside the trailer, the account also revealed that the season is, quote, scheduled to start broadcasting in October, unquote. Primarily featuring key moments from the Divine Tree arc, with small hints at the final arc, the trailer begins with Mob staring at the Divine Tree, which sprouted from the broccoli in his pocket, as seen at the end of season 2. Following a brief montage of conversations between Mob and Saruta, Reagan, and Serizawa, the trailer hears Ritsu ask, quote, "Brother, have you heard of the Psycho-Helmed cult?" Unquote. A group of fanatics who believe Mob is a god and whose beliefs later spread to the student council at Salt Middle School. Mob the god! Mob the god! Mob the god! Mob the god! Mob the gob! There's a source English sub for Mob Psycho 103 trailer. Okay. Continuing, the trailer then cuts to Mezzato, who explains that the cult currently holds, quote, more than 500,000 believers. Here's some more of the trailer. Visual picture of the trailer. We are next shown the actual sanctuary where the cult members are meeting, with Dimple, aka Akubo, being heard trying to convince Mob to take helm of the group's leader. Among the cult's members are the Sun Psychic Union, um, whose members were one of the many groups of psychics previously called to the Asagiri residence in order to assist with the exorcism of Keiji Mogami from Minori Asagiri's body. The witnesses of the earth, I guess here is the Sun Psychics Union. Here is the witnesses of the earth. And as seen in purple, spiritual center of the group, the people in red are unidentified. But best guesses are they are either Divine Tree associates, teachings of the green students, or a mixture of the two subgroups. Mob then interrupts, responding to the green spirit, quote, "Dimple, you should stop trying to be bad," unquote. So there's Dimple right there. The trailer then cuts to preview the second arc of the season we'll be adapting and the series final overall. The question mark percentage arc, which sees mobs rushing to confess his love to Tsubomi. I think it's supposed to be Mob. After learning that she will be moving away. Mob is eventually seen heading towards the Divine Tree, setting out to destroy the root of the city's cult related problems itself, as Teru takes note of the fissures and brainwashing resulting from the plant's presence. Speaking of Teru, the trailer soon finds him brainwashed and fighting against Mob inside the Divine Tree, as seen in chapter 97 of the manga. After a few more flashes at the percentage arc, um, the trailer presents what it has got to be Dimple finally becoming a god and growing into a large size. Manga readers should already know what this means. But don't worry, anime only fans, we won't spoil anything for you. Look at that. See. As the trailer reaches its climax, we see Mob possessed by the question mark Esper, part of him that he's spent the entire series attempting to suppress after being by things they meant to put hit by a car, begin to rampage. Seeing the manga's chapter 100.1. We then transition to various shots of who is finally unleashing the power he's built up after having waited so long for just the right opportunity to burst forth from captivity. Finally, the trailer ends with the emergence of Psycho Helmet Entity, itself a fusion of the Divine Tree's roots, who was developing within it and entire time and his self-introduction to the world. First two seasons of the anime and its OVA are currently available for streaming on Crunchyroll, while the first season of the series live action adaptation is available for streaming on Netflix. Are you excited for the final season of Mob Psycho 100? Let us know your thoughts on social media or in the comments down below. Alright, so anyways, let's see. We're at 57 minutes now. You were there when I needed you. You were there when the skies were wide, wide. All right, so here's the next article we will go through. Crunchyroll snagged streaming rights for Chainsaw Man. Article by John F. Trent, published May 17, 2022, which is today, of course, in the anime section. Crunchyroll announced they acquired the streaming rights for Mappa's Upcoming anime adaptation of mangaka Tatsuki Fujimoto's um, Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man is one of the most popular mangas at the moment, with the series' 10th volume topping the sales charts in April. The series' entire 97 chapter run in 11 volumes is currently available to read through Viz Media's digital collaboration with Shonen Jump. The 11th volume of the manga is scheduled to go on sale in June. The series follows Deniji, a young man drowning in debt, and that's not an understatement. He sold his kidney, his right eye, and even one of his testicles, and he's still over 38 million yen in debt. Oh, why would you start selling body parts while you're still alive, dude? And what in the world did you do to get into that much debt? Yeesh. Ugh. The kicker is the debt isn't really his, it's his father's, and he owes it to the Yakuza. Sheesh. Huh. Well, that's how you do it. In order to pay off his debt, he hunts demons with his devil dog, Pochita, that doubles as a chainsaw. However, the Yakuza that he owes his debt to eventually come under the sway of a zombie devil and betray Deniji, slicing him up and leaving him for dead. Ooh, that's not cool. Fortunately for Deniji, he made a pact with Pochita that if he ended up getting killed, Pochita could take over his body in order to live out Deniji's simple dreams of eating bread with jam on it and hugging a girl. Pochita takes over his body and Chainsaw Man is born. He comes complete with a pull cord in the middle of his chest. Um, Upon pulling the cord, he transforms the chainsaws coming out um, of both in his hands and a giant chainsaw as a head. Whoa! Crying out something for a lot of people to saw something like that would be horrible. It's a living, walking, living, breathing chainsaw. Let's see. The official synopsis for the anime states Luigi is a teenage boy living with a chainsaw devil named Akita. Due to the debt his father left behind, he has been living a rock bottom life while to repaying his debt by harvesting devil corpses with Pachita. Quote, one day Deniji is betrayed and killed. As his consciousness fades, he makes a contract with Pachita and gets revived as Chainsaw Man, smaller quotes, a man with a devil's heart, unquote. It concludes. In a press release, Crunchyroll announced that they will simulcast the series from Japan later this year, subtitled and dubbed in more than 200 countries and territories around the world. Dubs will include English, Latin American Spanish, Brazilian Portuguese, French, and German. The anime is directed by the Rising of the Shield Hero and Fate Grand Order Absolute Demonic Front Babylonia's Ryu Nakayama, based off a screenplay by Hiroshi Seko. Mob Psycho 100, Attack on Titan final season. Character design for the series is done by Kazutaka Sugiyama, with Devil designed by Kiyotaka Oshiyama, art direction by Yusuke Takeda, with music composition by Kensuke Ushio. Crunchyroll's chief content officer, Asa Suehira, hyped the series, stating, quote, with dark humor, dynamic characters, and a sharp body, pun intended, I bet, Chainsaw Man is one of the most anticipated new series this year. And we are wickedly excited to bring it to fans on Crunchyroll service. Suehira added, quote, anime fans will be up all night thinking about the spectacular visuals and high octane action. Unquote. A release date for the series was not announced. Do you plan on watching Chainsaw Man? There we go with that one. We have one more article to go through, and then see. Oh, Blue Lock was the name of that other anime, not Blue Star. Okay. Blue Lock anime adaptation receives first trailer, new key visual, and official release date. Article by Nerdigans Inc. Published earlier today. The highly anticipated Blue Lock anime adaptation has received its first trailer and key visual, as well as an official release date. Written by As the Gods Will, mangaka um, Kaneshiro Muneyuki, and illustrated by Nomura Yusuke. Blue Lock is an extremely popular manga that has been serialized in Magapoke since August 2018. As described in a synopsis provided by the series' English language publisher Conan, quote, after a disastrous defeat in the 2018 World Cup, Japan's team struggles to regroup. But what's missing? An absolute ace striker who can guide the team to a win. It's just, I guess, a soccer anime. There's been a few ones out there like Captain Tsubasa, among others. Um, quote, the Football Association is hell bent on creating a striker who hungers for goals and thirsts for victory, and who can be the decisive instrument in turning around a losing match. Now, for those of you who don't understand that, internationally, so what we in America call soccer, the rest of the world calls football. Okay, football in America is the pigskin, the ovular shaped pigskin that gets played like basically every fall. But around the rest of the world, football is basically what they call what we call soccer. And to do so, they've gathered 300 of Japan's best and brightest youth players. Unquote. It continues, quote, who will emerge to lead the team? And will they be able to outmuscle and out-ego everyone who stands in their way? On May 13th, the official Blue Lock Anime Twitter account debuted the series' first key visual, alongside the announcement that the series would begin airing in October 2022 on Japanese broadcaster TV Asahi. And there we go, right there. So and then here's the translation of the tweet. Broadcast monthly key visual, broadcast a TV animation from October 2022, decided on TV Asahi's 24 stations nationwide. NUM animation frame with Blue Prison as a stage for the survival of 300 high school students. The key visuals depicting Kiyoshi and others are released. Along with a key visual, the official series Twitter account shared Blue Lock's first trailer, giving fans a first look at the series' direction under Studio 8-bit. The trailer begins on Isagi Yoichi, character voice Kazuki um, Ura, walking home defeated and depressed in the aftermath of his high school team losing the Saitama Prefecture finals and facing the reality that they just couldn't make that last step to nationals. As Isagi reflects on his dreams, the trailer cuts flashes back to the first time he saw French soccer player Noel Noah play on TV. Quote, I was entranced by your plays, unquote, Isagi narrates across the shot of his youth teammates, commenting on how unstoppable he is. Quote, I just looked up to you, kept playing soccer, unquote. Isagi is then heard questioning how his life would have been different if he was his rival, Kira, instead of basically being the Krillin to Kira's Goku. Oh boy! Ah, there's a Dragon Ball reference right there. Asking, quote, if only instead of passing, I'd taken the shot, could I have changed my destiny? Unquote. The trailer then transitions to Isagi facing the reality that his dream not coming true as he begins to cry. Quote, soccer is a sport played by 11 people, right? You can't win on your own. One for all, I wanted to win. Unquote. And there you got tears coming out there. In an odd choice, the Blue Lock production team decided to put the beginning of Jinpachi Ego's character voice Hiroshi Kamiya, Trafalgar D Law, One Piece, um, big speech from the end of chapter 1 towards the end of the trailer, and the end of it at the beginning. Quote, discard your common sense, Ego tells Isagi. Quote, on the field, you're the leading actor. Quote, rejoice in your own goals, live for nothing but that moment, unquote. The team coach tells the protagonist, quote, that's what it means to be a striker, unquote. Next up are quick shots of the Blue Lock facility, including the team gym, cafeteria, and of course, soccer field. The blueprint theme is exactly how it is supposed to look like in the manga. The only difference here is that the trailer is give us a first person POV of the facilities rather than the quote the smaller quotes chart visuals given to us in the source material. Zooming out, the camera shows the full overall structure of Blue Lock, while three shots look to pretty accurately recreate the team base. We'll wait for the finished product to pass final judgment. We next jump to Ego's speech, wherein the team coach presents a hypothetical scenario to the 300 players who compose Blue Lock's various strata. It's one-on-one showdown with the goalkeeper, and the player could either pass and get a guaranteed score, or take a gamble and score the goal himself. Quote, congratulations, you unpolished lumps of talent, unquote, says Ego. Quote, according to my personal judgment, the 300 of you are the best strikers under 18, unquote. Quote, the birth of the revolutionary striker with the 300 of you. Here, I will conduct an experiment to create the world's best striker, unquote. He explains, quote, the egoist that chooses to gamble the nation's hopes and assurance of victory, only those sorts of crazy egoists may proceed ahead into Blue Lock, unquote. So he's actually promoting more of a selfish kind of situation, trying to put the mindset in that the striker needs to be more selfish than the rest of the team. The trailer then flashes the portraits of Team Z's final roster and the series principal cast, with the first frame featuring Jingo Raichi, character voiced by Yoshitsugu Matsuoka, um, who is Inosuke in Demon Slayer, Wataru Kwan, character voiced Masa Toromo Nakazawa, Kenji Fudakuchi from, I guess, Haikyuu, Okuhito Iemon, character voiced Ryunosuke Watanuki, commander from Time Boken 24, and Yudai Imamura, character voice Shoya Chiba, Mr. Black from Tiger and Bunny 2. Asahi Naruhaya, character voice Daichi Kajita from Real Curtia from Noblesse, Gin Kagemaru, character voice Shugo Nakamura, who was Teru Tenbo in the Idol Master Side M. In Gurimu Igarashi, character voice Aoi Ichikawa, headlining the second. The third and final team shot ends the montage with Bachira Meguru, character voice Tatsuku Kaito, who is Kohaku Okawa and Ensemble Stars, Road to Show. Shigiri Hiyoma, character voice Soma Saito from Kamen Rider, Birth, Kamen Rider Memory of Heroes. In Kunigami Rensuke, character voice Yuki Ono, who voiced Josuke Higashikata in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Diamond is Unbreakable. Quote, rivals carving out a shared dream, unquote, Ego narrates. Quote, sometimes you'll betray each other, sometimes you'll cooperate. Unquote. Following a few glimpses at Team Z's training, the trailer draws to a close on Isagi, who, after receiving a pass from Bachira during a make or break game, experiences his first spark of flow. You excited for the Blue Lock anime adaptation? Let us know your thoughts on social media or in the comments down below. Well, sports animes can be pretty interesting. Um, Haikyuu, I know I saw the first 3 seasons of Haikyuu, which is a volleyball anime. That one was pretty cool to watch. So with that, right through. Hey guys. Let's see. Hey Sakura. What's up, bro daddies? Bat is in the house. Yes, I see that now. Action is next to the bat. Poses him. Passes him a bear. Learns BK. Okay. All right, guys. Well, it's kind of funny you guys got here late. I basically have already read through all the articles, but there's still some wrestling news to go through. Um, but as always, you guys know if you ever want to go back and get the information, you can always go, watch the video again. I thank you guys for being here, guys, for the likes and shares. So, anyways, let's move on to that passes joint says woot. All right, so an hour 21 now. So that article actually took us like 20 minutes or so. All right. So, anyways, now I've got sun like right in. Excuse me a quick moment, guys. I'll be right back here. I'll turn some music on for you guys for the moment. All right, I'm back now. Let's see what you guys have been saying here. Let's see. Up, boss. Dude, there, they sound so glad I'm gonna be a Subway. How you living, brother? All right. So anyway, um, all right. Hey, Robert. Um, yeah, I've already got through all the articles, so finishing up here. Um, so the last bit of news I've got is, of course, wrestling news. Love that music. Always uh, before 20 when I hear it. What? Okay, so we do have some WE news to go through, and as well as some All Elite news, All Elite wrestling news. Your mic is your mic is shit, Mike. I'm not hearing it. Am I clear now? Am I clear now, Batgoat? Mike is okay now. Okay. All right. So, anyways, as I said, I've already gone through the comics and the articles on the comics and anime. So now we're just into the wrestling news here. So, on the WWE side of it, last night's Raw, some major news that happened yesterday. As far as the WWE. Um, so apparently, Naomi and Sasha Banks have walked out on their contracts with the WWE. Um, apparently, they were not happy with something last night. They end up walking off Raw. They basically just just before the show at one point, they went into the head of talent relations, John Laurinaitis' office, just kind of surrendered the belt and said, "Hey, we're out of here." Now, according to the coverage I've been seeing on it, apparently the issue is primarily between Sasha and Vince over creative differences on how initially there was supposed to be a 6-pack challenge last night on Raw to determine the number one contender to Bianca Belair's Raw Women's Championship. Naomi and Sasha Banks were going to be who were the SmackDown who are coming in as the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Were going to be part of that match, which also included Doudrop, um, Nikki Ash, Asuka, and Becky Lynch, I believe. But then when Sasha Banks and Naomi walked off Raw, that was changed. Now the match was changed from number one contender 6-pack challenge to a singles match. The main event was changed to a single match main event between Asuka and Becky Lynch. Um, let's see. Hmm. All right. Well, anyway, so with that as well, though, yeah. So right now, apparently, it's one of the things I talked about earlier with the idea of there's three sides to every story. There's your side, my side, and 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 the truth. And with that, so again, details are still coming out. Things are still fuzzy. Apparently, Sasha in particular was not happy. And the funny thing about this too was, supposedly in that six pack challenge for the number one contendership for the Raw Women's title, Naomi was actually, it was according to some of the sources I was hearing, Naomi was actually supposed to be winning that match. So Naomi was slated to become the number one contender and would probably end up facing Bianca Belair at the next pay per view that the WWE had, the Hell in a Cell pay per view. And it's also tricky because, of course, there's also been some talk about Naomi joining the Bloodline faction, which is composed of Roman Reigns and the Uso brothers. And I know Naomi, whose real name is Trinity Fatu, is actually the wife of one of the Usos. I don't remember if it was Jimmy or Jay Uso, but and that's going to obviously complicate things too. But they were also talking about having Naomi possibly being another member of the Bloodline. So, and it basically ended up where basically they ended up having to make a lot of changes on the fly, and it ended up for some people said it ended up working out okay for them considering the circumstances. That's a big news coming out of the WWF, the fact that two workers who are still under contract ended up walking out on them. Now, as the story unfolds, continues to unfold, of course, I'll have more more details as they come. Anyways, I've got to step away from the computer for a second, as you guys can probably tell, it is starting to get a little more dim in here. I need to get some more light in here, so I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So you guys have been saying since I was gone there. Oh, hey, Woody, thanks for dropping in. Um, okay, Hangman, wait, word up, Wood. Hey guys, so I'm back now. So, finishing up, of course. Yeah, so I talked about the Naomi, and now for AEW, All Elite, for the news from All Elite Wrestling. Um, we have the situation there where tomorrow night they're going to have Wild Card Wednesday, as they've been having a celebratory tournament for the Owen Hart Foundation. Um, let's see, on the men's side of it, the last two matches of the men's bracket will be happening tomorrow night, and the first match of the semifinal round as well. The last two matches of the first round are the quarterfinals, and then the first semifinal match will be happening. And then on the women's side of it, I believe at least one, if not both, of the remaining semifinal matches will be taking place on tomorrow's show. And I do believe that they're going to have the finals of that tournament, if I understand correctly, at the end of the month here at their Double or Nothing pay per view. So tomorrow night on AEW Dynamite. Samoa Joe will be taking on a mystery opponent. Ray Phoenix will be taking on Ryan O'Reilly in the other. So those two semifinal, and then Jeff Hardy will be taking on Adam Cole in the two quarterfinals. I'm sorry, and then Hardy and so you got the two quarterfinal matches: Samoa Joe and a mystery opponent, and Ray Phoenix, and and Ryan O'Reilly. These are Night Toys. And then also on that night, you're gonna have the after of course those guys figure out what the second semifinal is going to be. The first semifinal will be happening tomorrow night as well, which is between Jeff Hardy and Adam Cole. On the women's side of it, I know at least one of the wild card matches will be on the line, as I believe Doc Britt Baker will be taking on the mystery opponent from her side of it, as Toni Storm has already advanced. Last week Toni Storm and Ruby Soho advanced to the semifinals in their respective matches. Toni Storm on last week's Dynamite beating Jamie Hayter, and Ruby Soho on Friday's Rampage defeating former AEW champion Riho. So, and there's some other stuff going on too. Wardlow is going to end up having to take 10 lashes from MJF as part of the agreement to get the chance to fight him at Double or Nothing. There's still two matches for Double or Nothing that have been announced thus far. Hangman Adam Page, the current AEW World Champion, will be defending his title against CM Punk. And you also have the AEW Women's title on the line as Thunder Rosa defends against Serena Deeb. So, that's all of the wrestling. So pretty much we got all the news in. So this is a good time to start wrapping up here. An hour 36 mark here. Let me just see. So, are you guys ready for this day in Nietzsche history? History. All right. So, without any further ado, then, we're going to go ahead and we are going to go ahead and take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history, as today is Tuesday, May the 17th, 2022. So let's take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. First off, we're going to head back 30 years ago today. Is on this date 30 years ago today. WCW held its Wrestle War event. The main event did see a War Games match. One of I think two where the Four Horsemen were not as involved. Now Arn Anderson was still involved in this one, but not as a member of the Four Horsemen. So the main event for Wrestle War '92 saw in a War Games match the team known as Sting Squadron, composed of Sting, Barry Windham, Dustin Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat, and Nikita Koloff, defeating the Dangerous Alliance of Steve Austin, Rick Rude, Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, Larry Zbyszko. This would actually mark kind of the start of the Dangerous Alliance's, kind of parting of ways, as it were. As at this point, they were all involved in singles feud. They were all involved in feuds with members of Sting Squadron. This was around the time that Sting and Rick Rude were in a rivalry with each other over like both the U.S. and even the international heavyweight title. Um, I think Barry Windham and Dustin Rhodes were in a tag team feud with Anderson Eaton over the tag titles. Ricky Steamboat and Steve Austin were also involved in a feud there. So the main event did see Sting Squadron defeat in a War Games match. It's a cage match. It's a 10-man tag cage match where the only ways you can win is submit or surrender. Either get one of your opponents to submit or surrender. In this case, Sting got Bobby Eaton to submit to an armbar. So you start out with a member from each team battling it out, and then at certain intervals, depending upon how they pick the order, and so members of alternating teams come in. So let's say Sting team, you have one guy from Sting Squadron and one guy from Dangerous Alliance. Then, however they determine the order, one team will always have the advantage up until all 10, because you'll have one, then like that. So, also of note on the night, the opening match of the pay per view saw the Freebirds defeat Terry Taylor and Greg Valentine for the WCW United States Tag Team Championships. That was, of course, the secondary tag championships. Among some of the other matches include the Steiner brothers, who were the WCW World World Tag Team Champions at the time, World Tag Team Champions. They defeated Tatsumi Fujinami and Takayuki Iizuka for to be deemed number one contenders to the IWGP Tag Team title. You saw Flying Brian Pillman retain the WCW Light Heavyweight title over Tom Zink. So those are some of the more notable matches. um, Excuse me one more time because Chloe's barking out. I'm the only one here, so I'll be right back, guys. I did that kind of in reverse order from what I normally would do it. But anyways, so that's all for that. Let's see. So let's see. What else we have here? All right. So next up for this day in each history, On this date, 16 years ago today, um, the 150th issue of Robin from DC Comics went on sale. Story was Hard Answers, written by Adam Beechin, art by Freddie E. Williams II. Phil Balsman did the lettering, and Nathan Irving did Iring did the coloring. So on this date, 16 years ago today, the 150th issue of Robin went on sale for $2.99 and 32 pages. So, anyways, so with that, let's move on to the next piece of niche history here. We move ahead actually 1 year, as on this date in 2007. This date in 2007, the anime series Rocket Girls from studio Mook Animation DLE would finish its run on this date back 15 years ago. So 15 years ago today, Rocket Girls from Mook Animation and DLE would complete its run on Wow Wow. There we go with that one. And then, last but not least, 10 years ago today, back in 2012, the Disney Channel, Disney television animation series, Special Agent Oso, um, Special Agent Oso would complete its run on this date back in 2000. 10 years ago today, Disney television animation's Special Agent Oso would complete its run on this date back in 2012, 10 years ago today. So with that, guys, I do appreciate you all coming out. Thank everybody for the likes and shares. Don't forget, we will have our weekly historical retrospect on Friday. Be finishing up January of 1939. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you all have a good evening, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.